Hello, friends. We are going to listen to two of the greatest Thespians, actors, inside of the Democrat Party in recent memory, Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff. Get out your handkerchief. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Welcome to the broadcast, friend. Things are happening so quickly. I have read everything I could get my hands on, and I am still maintaining, with everything that we now know, that there is no crime whatsoever that the president has committed, but perhaps more importantly, he did his constitutional duty. Over the weekend, we were reminded about a treaty that President Clinton signed with Ukraine regarding the two governments working together to root out corruption or illegal activities in either country. A treaty. So when President Trump said to President Zelensky, if you know anything about what happened in the 2016 election, we'd like to know. Because Ukraine says we have people that we know were involved trying to help Hillary Clinton. And then he said, also, there was a prosecution, an investigator that was shut down regarding Hunter Biden and perhaps President or Vice President Biden. If you can look into that, please do as well. It's the president's duty to ask for these things, or at least somebody in the Attorney General's office, whatever, but certainly the president as the commander-in-chief and the president as the boss of the Justice Department and the boss of the FBI is clearly within his rights and his duties to ask President Zelensky about these things. There's no crime. And the Democrats went off half-cocked about this silly whistleblower complaint. I've read the complaint. I hope that you will read the complaint. Clearly, whoever this person is did not write it, and it reads like the original dossier. The dirty dossier, the one that Steele put together that Hillary Clinton paid for. This was put together by a group of lawyers quoting anonymous sources. I was never there. I didn't see any of this firsthand. Quoting newspapers and various media outlets. It's a big nothing burger. But they have the people of the country dividing lines in what could aptly be called, Rush said it first on the air, a cold civil war. I've been saying on this program for years that we are a divided country, and God forbid that we head towards a shooting civil war, but we already are in a cold civil war. And this is all about capturing the presidency so that they can keep the Supreme Court in the hands of left-wingers. Always remember that. At the end of the day, this is about who controls the makeup of the Supreme Court and the federal judiciary. That is what they are after. Now, I promised you in the introduction that we would look at a couple of actors. The first person I'd like to introduce to you is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi. Listen to this little compilation put together by Tucker Carlson's team of Nancy and grief and prayer.
This is a very sad time for our country. I say this to you with great sorrow and prayerfully.
Well, first let me say that this is no cause for any joy. This is a very sad time for our country. It's really sad. We have to be very prayerful. I pray for the president all the time. This is a very sad time for our country. There's no joy in this. It's sad. We must be somber, we must be prayerful, and we must pursue the facts further.
There you have it. I have my doubts. I have my doubts how many times a day she falls to her knees and prays for the President of the United States. I just do. And furthermore, in Isaiah chapter 1, it says, though you multiply prayers, I will not listen because your hands are covered with blood. That was God speaking to his people. So if we can conceive of Nancy Pelosi praying, her hands are covered with the blood of innocent babies. She has been pushing, promoting, advocating, funding the murder of babies her entire public career. Her hands are covered with blood. So I'm not sure, according to Isaiah chapter 1, what kind of hearing she would get in the courts of heaven. But I digress. Who's she playing to? That was an acting job. Who is she playing to? I can tell you several people. Number one, she's playing to Roman Catholics. Latest poll that I saw showed that 54% of Roman Catholics do not want President Trump to be reelected. She's Roman Catholic. She's playing to them. She's playing to liberal, left-wing Catholic priests, Catholic bishops. She's also playing to older, and I mean older in age, Democrats who are very concerned that Ocasio-Cortez and Rashida Tlaib, that these left-wing lunatic women are the tail that is wagging the dog of the Democrat Party. So Nancy's sound bites are going to get played, and the guy who's 58 or 68 or 72 and his wife and the lady who's 57 or 47, she's sitting in her chair watching TV, and Nancy says these consoling words about grief and about prayer. It sounds like somebody involved in a counseling session. We really wanted President Trump to be okay, but he's brought this on himself, and this is not a time for us to rejoice. What horse manure? They've been going after the president since before he took office. This was all showmanship, and it was to play to her base, and also to play to her base because it may not work. They don't have the votes for impeachment, friends. Believe me, they don't have the votes. So this might be, she gave impeachment as the bone to the lunatic left of her own party, and she's throwing out her little thing about prayer for the older, slightly less crazy Democrats in her party. But if you're a Roman Catholic and you don't want President Trump elected for whatever reasons, and you understand how vital ending child killing is, and yet you would still vote for someone who promotes child killing, your moral compass has been shattered, and you need to go to your maker and ask him to repair it. I'll be right back with our next actor, Adam Schiff. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. For the beginner or price-conscious buyer, there's Michael Kelly guitars. For the serious player or professional, Roxy Guitar has the finest selection of guitar lines I've ever seen. You know I love Warrior guitars. Roxy Guitar has over 100 Warriors in stock. They have Heritage, G&L, Gretsch, John Sears, BC Rich, Duesenberg, Dean, legendary guitars at great prices, including pre-owned Gibsons, Fenders, and more. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. Welcome back, friend. I'm going to show you a clip now of Adam Schiff, and there were two great crimes, two great sins. Let's call them sins. There were two great sins committed against the truth. Now, for those of you who are regular viewers of the program, you might remember that on the last episode, I read the conversation between President Trump and President Zelensky. I read it in its entirety. If you have, for some reason, missed that show, you can find it online at our YouTube channel. But perhaps more importantly, just go and put in full transcript, President speaking to Zelensky, whatever. It's going to come up in 1,000 different places. Read it. And then watch this. Now, this is Adam Schiff, who is the chairman of his committee, and he is saying that this is what the president said. Now, he throws a little caveat in there. He says, in so many words. Now, watch him look down, watch his body language, and then remember what the president and Zelensky said. It was President Zelensky who brought up Giuliani. The president only mentioned Biden and his son one time. If you look at the totality of the conversation, this was as inane and as diplomatically proper as possible. Listen to what Adam Schiff says happened between the president and President Zelensky.
And what is the president's response? Well, it reads like a classic organized crime shakedown. Shorn of its rambling character and in not so many words, this is the essence of what the president communicates. We've been very good to your country, very good. No other country has done as much as we have. But you know what? I don't see much reciprocity here. I hear what you want. I have a favor I want from you, though. And I'm going to say this only 7 times, so you better listen good. I want you to make up dirt on my political opponent, understand lots of it. On this and on that, I'm going to put you in touch with people, and not just any people. I'm going to put you in touch with Attorney General of the United States, my Attorney General, Bill Barr. He's got the whole weight of the American law enforcement behind him. And I'm going to put you in touch with Rudy. You're going to love him, trust me. You know what I'm asking, and so I'm only going to say this a few more times, in a few more ways. And by the way, don't call me again. I'll call you when you've done what I asked.
I cannot describe to you in words the rage that this should make us feel. Now, here's why. If Schiff had said, hey, I'm going to do a parody. This is going to be funny, guys. Watch this. What the president is saying is a shakedown. I mean, he could have done it in such a way that it was clear he was making it up. But he read it from a piece of paper sitting in front of him as if it was the transcript. There were millions, tens of millions of people who saw this falsehood and believed it. Tens of millions of people saw one of the President of the United States' prime enemies get up and create a completely false witness, a false witness narrative. Do you know that the Bible says when someone commits a false witness in a legal proceeding, that the punishment for committing false witness is that they should receive the penalty that the falsely accused victim would have gotten? So under biblical law, if somebody commits false witness saying, I saw so-and-so kill so-and-so, knowing that it was a false witness and knowing that the penalty for that person, should they be convicted, would be that they were put to death, because capital crime, or murder is a capital crime, that if it comes out that the false witness was lying and knew that they were lying, that they are to be put to death. That's how serious the offense of being a false witness is. And the media outlets all over the country played this godless false witness and didn't say that this wasn't the truth. They didn't say it was a parody. Now, later on, Schiff was called to account. And he said, well, you know, it was just a parody. It was a joke. Wasn't it funny? It wasn't funny. You foul, lying congressman. It wasn't funny. It was false witness. And you deserve the penalty you're trying to get from Trump, which is that you should be driven out of office. But there was a second crime committed against the truth that, in my opinion, was perhaps more egregious. Guess what it is? I'm going to come back and tell you, but just guess. Don't go away.
I also want to speak tonight directly to Muslims throughout the world. We respect your faith. Its teachings are good and peaceful. And those who commit evil in the name of Allah blaspheme the name of Allah.
We have reaffirmed again and again that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace.
Islam is a religion of peace. They are not Muslims, they are monsters.
We've been told that Muslim terrorists have hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam. But Islamic art and literature tell a very different story. To know the truth, we only have to study the narrative of the founder of Islam, Muhammad, in his own words. Welcome back, friend. And you know what? I want to play it again. We'll subtract it from the time. I want to play that Schiff thing again because I want to prove the point that I'm about to make. For those of you who just joined me, if you're flipping through the channel, I'm about to play Adam Schiff, the congressman, the chairman of his committee, and he's a liar. And he lied on national television. This was seen by tens of millions of people who actually thought this is what President Trump said. It was totally made up, totally a lie. Watch the lie again.
And what is the president's response? Well, it reads like a classic organized crime shakedown. Shorn of its rambling character and in not so many words, this is the essence of what the president communicates. We've been very good to your country, very good. No other country has done as much as we have. But you know what? I don't see much reciprocity here. I hear what you want. I have a favor I want from you, though. And I'm going to say this only 7 times, so you better listen good. I want you to make up dirt on my political opponent, understand lots of it. On this and on that, I'm going to put you in touch with people, and not just any people. I'm going to put you in touch with Attorney General of the United States, my Attorney General, Bill Barr. He's got the whole weight of the American law enforcement behind him. And I'm going to put you in touch with Rudy. You're going to love him, trust me. You know what I'm asking, and so I'm only going to say this a few more times, in a few more ways. And by the way, don't call me again. I'll call you when you've done what I asked.
Now, the sin against truth number 1 was Adam Schiff doing this. But sin against truth, the sin against truth number 2, that in my opinion may be more egregious and more offensive than what Adam Schiff said. And heaven is my witness, if I could crawl through that lens into your living room and say, was the silence of the Republicans on that committee. Nobody jumped up. Nobody pounded the table. If they should have been pounding the table, stop this hearing right now. That's not what the president said. I've got the transcript in front of me. How dare you lie? How dare you oversee a committee of this nature, a committee calling for the impeachment of a president, and you're going to lie about what he said? Republican congressmen, House members, senators, governors should have been jumping out of their seats and screaming their lungs out because Adam Schiff was bearing false witness, trying to destroy a presidency, and Nunes, who a lot of people think is a good guy, sat there and said nothing. The silence was a betrayal. The silence was a sin against the truth. And the silence continued. It wasn't until, 2-3 hours later that somebody finally, hey, that wasn't actually what the president's transcript said. They caught him in a hallway somewhere, and he said, well, yeah, I know that this was just parody. But by then, the clip had been aired heaven knows how many times on how many networks, how many millions of people saw it, and then saw it again later. It was a lie. And the Republicans, the spineless, cowardly, lost, tepid, timid Republicans, said nothing. That's what makes my heart go out to President Trump even more. I don't care what narrative you want to use. What example? President Trump is our quarterback. He's getting sacked over and over again. The front line, the halfbacks, the tight ends, he should be being protected by his team. And he's not. They're just letting the opposition roll right through and just keep sacking him, punching him, kicking him. Think of it like tag team wrestling. Somebody should be tagging him and taking up nothing. It's disgusting. Again, if you're a regular viewer of my program, if you used to listen to me when I was on the air coast to coast, you know me. I believe in many ways that the Republican leadership, the machinery of the Republican Party elite in Washington, D.C. and in some of our state capitals, they're as big a problem as the Democrats because they're treacherous. They're cowardly. They play us for money and for man hours, volunteer hours, and for votes. But when it comes down to really fighting, they don't want to get their hands dirty with it. They're not interested in really fighting for the truth and fighting for justice. So they sat there and let Schiff lie through his teeth and didn't respond, didn't scream their lungs out. It was disgusting. The only thing worse than what Adam Schiff said is what the Republicans didn't say. I'll be right back. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, "I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life." Best-selling author Dr. Bill Warner said, "What Would Mohammed Do is the best movie series, TV production on the life of Muhammad and Islamic terrorism that has ever been produced." Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700, or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. For the beginner or price-conscious buyer, there's Michael Kelly guitars. For the serious player or professional, Roxy Guitar has the finest selection of guitar lines I've ever seen. You know I love Warrior guitars. Roxy Guitar has over 100 Warriors in stock. They have Heritage, G&L, Gretsch, John Sears, BC Rich, Duesenberg, Dean, legendary guitars at great prices, including pre-owned Gibsons, Fenders, and more. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com.
I also want to speak tonight directly to Muslims throughout the world. We respect your faith. Its teachings are good and peaceful. And those who commit evil in the name of Allah blaspheme the name of Allah.
We have reaffirmed again and again that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace.
Islam is a religion of peace. They are not Muslims, they are monsters.
We've been told that Muslim terrorists have hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam. But Islamic art and literature tell a very different story. To know the truth, we only have to study the narrative of the founder of Islam, Muhammad, in his own words. Days of righteous rage. I understand that we have families, we have jobs, we have lives, we have love. The Christian community, the conservative Christian community is made up of people who in their various denominations love God, they're trying to serve God, they're studying their Bible, they're spending time in prayer, they're going to church not once a week, but 2, 3 times a week. They're devout, they're sharing Jesus with people. I get it. And it's not in our day-to-day culture to fight, to rumble. People who are trying to tear this country from its moorings, quite successfully, I might add, they're filled with hate. They're filled with the hatred of unborn babies, hatred of justice and truth, hatred of the Republican Party, hatred of conservative Christianity, hatred of the laws of God. And they're animated and they fight. We've got to fight, people, or we're going to get rolled over. If you want to learn more on how to fight, if you're willing to put together something in your community, I want you to start praying. What are you going to do in your community? I can teach you, and I'm going to put together some teaching tools about stuff that you could do. But between now and then, ask yourself, what am I willing to do to speak up for President Trump and for truth and for justice? I'll talk to you soon. you.